Yeah, school hasn't changed a lot over the years. I myself haven't personally walked into a classroom, but do enough stuff online. You know, it's interesting to learn even when you're not studying or at school. So, and the way things are working, it's not working terribly well. So, you know, as you say, you know, the classroom hasn't changed for so many 100 years. So, but learning is very important for the future. I mean, for people not to be smart, or should we say not to use what they've got to the best of their capacity, is actually very destructive to the fabric of our society. We've already witnessed it now, and we're at the tipping point. Everything's being messed up. So, been watching quite a few university type YouTube postings, which talks about, you know, America becoming the dumb nation and how it's influencing our environment, and it's caused, you know, it's to do with money and all this stuff, and about, you know, not using renewables and not using creativity and meshing it with art and science and all, you know, not meshing it with science and all that stuff. And it's very hard to break the flow. You know, I know there's a lot of people out there who follow his views, who agree with his sensible, enlightened view of what education and what progress is, but there just doesn't seem to be enough force to actually break the bonds of, and who are in control. It's just, and that's the thing. There is a way out. The way of getting out of it is to try and get people to network as much as they can, to promote the use of technology as much as you can, to promote good things, to talk about the things that were good in the past and to sort of work on them. And anything that's smart or talented, it doesn't matter whether it's art, whether it's science, you know, I guess they call it arts and humanities, you know, without being a university grad myself. I never went to uni, but the thing is, I don't really think, you know, having to go to school formally is a determining factor anyway in succeeding. Of course, university is great because if you go to uni, you can learn about, you know, physics and all that stuff, but it's not easy to learn for people. Most people learn just by picking up a book or even doing online stuff. But not everyone is university or college material, and there's a lot of people out there. And of course, a lot of people are actually hemmed in, can't go to school or unis because it's merely economical. So you've got a lot of talented people in third world countries who have to learn by themselves. They have to throw themselves off the deck, so to speak. You know, it's the old story. You know, you got guys. I think there was a guy on YouTube, I forgot his name, but he was building his own batteries, running his own, I think, radio station or something, running his own lighting, and of course he wasn't going to uni, he had no money, he was actually using. But that's the thing, the people who don't have money, but have got brains, are what we could call resourceful, right? So while it's not nice to have no money and not to have the ability to sort of hook in and get the best of the, you know, the test equipment and all that scientists need to get the best, my opinion is that if you start out being poor, and if you start out being, that means you have to use more what you have available to you. So if you can't afford to keep turning over gadgets at every whim, or you say you use your gadgets until they pass out, or at least try to fix the gadgets. If you've got the ability to fix machines, or if you can repair them, well, most of these people who drive the companies don't think like that. They think, oh yeah, we build a machine, could be a computer, for example. We seal it up in a little box. It happens in the car industry too. Put it in a box so the technicians can't get in there, or should we say technically minded people can't get in there and pull out the screwdriver and do what they did in the 70s, the 80s, and repair it. Why? Because they want to keep everything to themselves. They want the revenue to come straight to them. It's this me attitude. And then of course they feather their own domains. They've got the houses, they've got everything, and they seem to rule everything. They even rule. They seem to have this. They even seem to make rule the relationships, the bedroom. They've stolen everything. That's the thing. We can't fight them. We can't sort of, allow our anger and our disdain sort of come out into the open. Of course, you got to talk about these things, but you got to do it privately, and you got to try and do it with a certain amount of tact. Not easy though, anger management. But there's a lot of people in this world who have got nothing, but they've got so much to give. They've got attitude where they want to help people. We've got people who want to innovative. We've got startups all over the place that don't seem to keep starting. They keep getting mowed over because the thing is, the people who should be consuming the products are actually running the companies, and they're running everything. So they've stolen everything. They've got the attitude that we want it all to ourselves. We want to make money. We want to have prestige. We want to have a big job, and we want to look good for our friends and our family now, and impress everybody and say we've made it. We've made it in our career. We've climbed to the top. We are CEO of whatever company. Insert your favourite company there. And then, of course, scientists and innovators, what do they get? Scraps. Food. Well, some of them are starving. Many of them don't have homes. Research has proven many of them occupy family homes, mum and dad's place when they're 40, 50, 40s, 30s. They're not, able to make their own lives. They're not married. They don't seem to marry very often. Many of them are isolated. Many of them don't even have a face that that they're innovators because they've become so disillusioned and so cold and hard. Some of them might be vandals who are tearing up your bus shelters as we speak, but they don't know who they are and what they are. No one knows. No one cares. And then, of course, or commonly they work in supermarkets and other places, and it's humiliating for them. Then what can they do? They have to take what's available. So what's good about, one thing that we can draw from that's positive is that they learn to become more innovative by reusing equipment, recycling, raiding trash heaps. And it's better for the environment. And then, of course, when they eventually can get some kind of closure and start, if the culture somehow changes, and we can make a Silicon Valley, we could start putting more Silicon Valleys around the world and somehow take all the grads, or all the uni grads, or anyone that's got any kind of focus on a certain task, and get them out of this kind of environment, just put them into a closed community, and then they can all work together as a team. Because the problem is, most of these people we're talking about are not have become conditioned. This conditioning, they're not playing as a team. These people who basically overrun our corporations, they overrun everything, they've learnt to become very social, and they actually use the pretense that they say, well, you're not people focused, you're too focused on equipment, task, we don't want you here, you're not good enough. And the problem is, when they focus too much on the customer and talking to the customer too much, the task becomes ignored or deprioritised. What happens? That's why your computers are made of rubbish. That's why they don't last long. They don't work properly. That's why when you're trying to upload things on YouTube, it's horribly slow. It's like trying to drink a fish shake through a thin straw. It's annoying. You're like, it must be possible to say, to have like a 1 gigabyte video, and to be able to upload that thing not in 1 hour or 2 hours or maybe whatever it takes. Not take 3 hours to upload it, or I don't know the exact uploading time, but it's really slow. But it is possible, if the right people are running things, to upload a video, like a 1 gig video file onto YouTube, with about 10 minutes. Is it possible? It's not that hard, really, but no. You don't have that. And even when you're running a really good data connection, the best on the market, it's expansion range. These guys don't care, because the thing is, they're too obsessed with people. But the problem is, there's nothing wrong with loving people, because you've got to love people. But when you're saying you can't love your job, you can't love your equipment, then your equipment suffers, and then of course the customers get angry and start to get cranky, and then it's silly. But what can we do? We have to find a solution. We're at a tipping point, and this recording is that tipping point. It's a bit long, but somehow find us a way of finding a solution. Keep thinking about it, keep making things, keep trying to push for reform, but you can't blow the megaphone and say protest. No, you can't make these unions protest, because protesting has been proven to fail. It causes more anger. They get their back up and they say you're just a bunch of activists, you're just a bunch of noisemakers, agitators. So you just got to somehow use online and try to do it as well as you can. But I'm not going to write off the future, because lessons will have to be learned. But those classrooms do look good. And more technology, more adaptability. Keep it up.